Welcome back to some more Dwarf Fortress. So, in the previous episode, we got our first migrant wave. It's actually a little odd having gone through a little over an hour, and actually having gone through a season and a half. And the other thing I'm a little concerned with is the lack of autosaves. Fortress, this, and okay, so I'm actually going to have to make a save here sooner rather than later. And yeah, I'm going to have to figure out how how these extra config settings need to be saved and stored and whatnot. One of the downside of using the Modest mod, in the past, I think less than a week, Dwarf Fortress has released another 2 versions. So, of course, all the mods can't really keep up, and when you're sort of used to relying on them for all the sort of nitty-gritty utility stuff, it's just a matter of looking back and figuring out where all that stuff actually is. Anyway, back to the fortress that's still running at a full, let's call it a nice even 100 FPS, physics-wise. Of course, the video FPS seems to be a little bit high. Probably need to adjust that down a little bit. Yay for configuration settings that I need to find. Anyway. Let's see, I've got that working and that working. So, for the time being, let's get a temporary still setup. Also, a table and a chair. I need to get the manager, or rather the bookkeeper, set up pretty immediately. So, off to the noble screen. Expedition leaders can't really be changed. Chief medical dwarf, that's easy enough. And because we have a rather large abundance of relatively useless labor, let's check the roles screen for what they would be good at. Not that it matters too much. So you have leatherworking and butchering, neither of which are all that important. and that changes you from butcher to butcher, not that it really matters. Let's make this a study and assign to the you. Okay. And it looks like they just need a meager office. Okay, next thing to do, go down to the bookkeeper, change the settings to highest precision. Followed by removing all of their other waivers so this actually gets done sometime before next winter. There's that taken care of. Let's see, the other thing. Well, I'm going to leave them as is for now. Softwood. Okay, so the softwood logs actually came from the wagon. That's good to know. So the next item on the agenda is going to be making shoot. I need a manager real quick. Manager, let's stick the chief medical. No, it's not. Let's give the Mason, give them a little something extra to do. So, now that we have a manager, go to the UMQ. Not that I actually know what any of that does, I just know the keys. So, wood, blocks 30. Blocks 30. 30. And next we need a workshop. What is it? It is the Clothier's Craftworks workshop. And we're going to finish it off with the claystone block. Okay. Unfortunately, all the creatures are getting in the way, which is a little annoying. So, let's come up with a quick zone for pen/pasture. Set that. And get everything out of the way. That's being worked on. Move the dogs over here. Remove the cat from the area. And get all of that stuff actually moved out of the way so that we can get this other building constructed. Ah, that was easy. So, rock, mugs, repeat. Next, we're going to need, while the bins are being made, wood, bins, 30. Luckily, we've got a bunch of wood. Otherwise, we would be relatively stuck. Okay, 37 drinks. That's not really great. But also for the time being, let's build a depot. This is going to be far from permanent. And we'll build it out of our former wagon. And cut down some more trees, primarily so that we can get a clear path for the wagon. And let's see, the next item we need, unfortunately I forgot this one. Wooden wheelbarrows, we're going to need 12 of those, and max the priority on that. Okay, max bins, wheelbarrows 2. There's 3. And who doesn't have anything to do, let's not filter the therapist. So we have weaver, clothes makers, relatively unskilled. Plant gathering. Wood cutting. It appears that we've got sort of the absolute minimum needed to keep our fortress from imploding on itself, which is always good. As well as the sort of standard useless skill. But we do already have a relatively decent weaponsmith. And luckily they are skilled in weaponsmithing and glazing for pottery, one of which is very useful. The other is a completely rubbish skill. Okay, and unfortunately our mug industry has gone a little bit overboard already, thanks to the almost legendary at this point mug maker. So add a task of a wooden bucket, bin, barrel, chest. I'm going to promote this towards the top. Also, the woodcrafter should probably not be doing anything but woodcrafting. And let's also give you... Actually, you don't have enough. You've got enough to do for the time being. Wooden chest. Let's leave that on repeat for a minute or two. And upstairs we need architecture. Stone crafting. Animal handling. Deconstruction. Okay. I think we're... Oh, architecture, of course. The architecture tab in Therapist got moved. And has now been found and activated for pretty much everyone. So, no reports. That. Let's see, let's check the units real quick. Great, we have Kia. Those things are annoying. And there should be the... Oh, of course, because we don't have one. Okay. Drinks are actually running low. Brew, drink from... Extract from plant. Shoot, I'm gonna have to figure out what that is. Let's see. Plant, fruit. Okay. So, luckily it seems to be just a case of labor got rearranged. So let's go ahead and brew some of the drinks. And at the same time, we need to collect more. So plant gathering, we have 2 plant gatherers. They are idle. Oh dear. So, in case you were ever wondering, yes, Dwarf Fortress does in fact have wave physics. So let's designate some plants to be gathered. Main fortress seems to be there-ish. So, one of the, I don't really want to call it oddities, but one of the oddities in Dwarf Fortress is that this actually has an ocean wave as a tile object. That is, I would say, mind-boggling, but this is Dwarf Fortress, and honestly, I'm not that surprised. This is also the first time I've ever embarked near an ocean, so a little bit surprising, although not entirely unexpected. Anyway, what you can do is actually trap fish in cage traps. It's a little odd to think about. Let's see, we have mackerel. We don't actually have a lot of ocean, but just sort of enough to play around a little bit with. Anyway, you can create sort of fish trap cage things. That sort of vacuum in fish. It ends up being very, very profitable food-wise, and I might have a go at making one of those. That needs carpentry, which is currently occupied. Okay. So, while the labor force is busy doing whatever it is they're busy doing, you trim that a little bit, and oops. Go ahead and get the stockpile started for this. Garbage dump. Okay, so that will get the sort of security area cleared out. Normally I wouldn't do that. Well, actually normally I would. It's relatively high priority. Right now if we got ambushed we would be pretty thoroughly toast. But it's mostly due to the amount of time it takes. However, in the interest of plant gathering, item refuse and stone hauling can be removed from a couple of these. We don't need that sort of contradictory. Leatherworking, but you're otherwise occupied. And of course the two farmers real food hauling, furniture, item, refuse, stone, trade good, water, wood. Deconstruction. Okay, commit those. So, the workforce has been tidied up a little bit, and while I was doing that, we have autumn arriving, as well as our first thief. We actually have two of them. Good to know. Okay, one last check. Carpentry is, in fact, a single labor, so they're not going to be doing the sort of menial hauling of relatively unimportant goods around. Okay. So, from the thief that we just ran into, the next obvious step will be getting some sort of defensive structure, even if it is very primitive, set up. But that will be for next time, as the time for this video has just about run out. So, anyway, quick recap. Miners are mining out the sort of security thing. Security area. First trade caravan is pretty much prepped. Fortress is not about to implode due to lack of drinks or other things like that. The farm area needs to be expanded on slightly, which we're in the process of doing, as well as getting the sort of food creatures up and well, rather getting eggs in production, getting that running. So, next time, fortifications, and otherwise just sort of moving forward. Also probably cleaning up a bunch of this wood. Ironically, said wood will probably be used in fortifications. We are heading straight for the magma layer. So charcoal's probably not going to be a huge issue. At least not like it was in the sort of start of the previous fortress. So, with that, I will go ahead and leave you. Well, there isn't really a cliffhanger or anything. Anyway, Until next time, stay safe.